The movie starts with a helicopter crashing down in the middle of a big battle in Kenya. There's a giant black smoke in the air, and a group of American soldiers are there clearing out the area of civilians. Soldiers are looking up but not firing as people are running out of the area in a panicked manner. The American leader gets his troops in position, but they can't see their enemy. Suddenly, two soldiers disappear after being shot by a blast, and the leader gets closer to the spot and sees two of his men also disappear. They open fire, but something behind them sends a large blast and knocks them out. The American soldier awakens in a jail cell, alone and in severe pain. He's shocked by a loose cable, causing a short circuit, and he notices a large wound on his arm and uses a metal pan to see his reflection, realizing he's lost all memory, including his appearance. He dislodges a brick to peek outside, spotting a plane crash. He yells, but a voice from the next cell warns him to be quiet to avoid danger. It was Nadia, a doctor, who informs him that they're in a police station in Newark, near Nairobi. He doesn't recognize these places and can't recall why he's in East Africa or even his own name. As they talk, something outside causes the building to shake and electricity to act very weird, and he had no idea of what was happening, so she tells him that machine-like aliens have invaded Earth. They hear people outside and he immediately starts calling them over despite Nadia telling him to stop, and he keeps yelling, so she decides to grab a piece of glass. Some soldier-looking men enter the station and they see the two and start talking. Nadia doesn't understand the language, but he does and translates, and he tries to defend Nadia, but that just pisses off the rebels. They try to grab him, but he starts fighting back and ends up falling through a window, and the leader enters Nadia's cell, but she stabs him and shoots the other man. Outside, the American shoots one and grabs a taser that doesn't affect him at all. That's when he sees the giant metallic alien coming toward him, and Nadia was fighting with the leader inside when the American hides from the alien. It easily spots him, but in an odd way, it just walks away. Meanwhile, Nadia uses a loose brick to knock down the leader and shoots him dead, and he comes back for her and she sees a partial tag on his shirt and names him Bo. Bo, with a bandaged arm, and Nadia leave the station littered with bodies. Bo aims for a US Army base, despite Nadia's concerns about its abandonment after the satellite crash 8 days ago. Bo insists on action and Nadia reluctantly joins him, and they gather supplies ignoring the surrounding bodies and set off in an abandoned car. Bo experiences battle flashback and he can't comprehend it, and Nadia reveals her self-defense skills as a former army doctor, and their journey is interrupted by a Kenyan soldier ambush. Nadia tries to negotiate, offering their water and explaining their intentions, and a soldier recognizes Bo's tattoo, causing panic and accusations of them being from the dish. Bo capitalizes on the confusion, disarms a soldier, and demands information about his tattoo. A soldier discloses a fortified American radar station with the same symbol near the western border, blaming it for the drone invasion due to its intact state. Then another soldier attempts to assault Bo once more, but he swiftly protects himself and doesn't fire due to another distracting memory flash. Subsequently, Bo and Nadia commandeer the soldier's jeep and return to the road to locate the radar station, and Bo removes his band-aid and observes his injury is in a form of an arrow pointing toward the dish, suggesting that heading to the station is the correct decision. They soon face a warning sign at a town's entrance with no detour, and the town's road is dangerously littered with electrical wires. A robot appears, forcing them to drive over the wires, and the robot's gunfire results in their jeep breaking down. They abandon the jeep and seek refuge behind rubble, which diverts the robot's attention to a man and his daughter. The robot kills the man, causing Nadia to shoot it to save the girl, and the robot surprisingly doesn't retaliate, but kills the girl before leaving. As darkness descends, the pair sets up camp and Nadia reveals that her family perished in an alien invasion, and suddenly a group of fighter jets zooms past, bringing a smile at Bo's face as he realizes people are still resisting. The following morning, they must return to the road on foot, and they trek for miles, encountering beautiful wildlife, but also witnessing widespread devastation and numerous corpses. Eventually, they hear a sound resembling English speech, but upon investigation, they find it to be a recording set up by locals as a trap. Soon, the pair is encircled and captured, taken to a ruined building where they're chained to a damaged car. At that moment, two individuals on bikes pass by them, followed by a robot. Bo understands that the locals are using them as bait to lure the robots. When the robots get close enough, the hunters trigger a mine that explodes right under a robot before they start shooting wildly. However, the robot seems unaffected, so the hunters throw a chain around it and finally bring it down with an electric shock. Unfortunately, more robots arrive and open fire rapidly, killing most of the hunters within seconds. As the battle rages around them, Bo manages to painfully free them from their chains, and the pair quickly hide as the bikers sped off, drawing the robots away. Once the threat was distant enough, Bo and Nadia return to the road, and as they cross a bridge, Bo spots a light and nearly shoots, but it turns out to be a photojournalist named Stander with his camera. He's taken numerous photos documenting the aliens' arrival, and he's seen the spaceships abducting people and has been injured in the process, but he doesn't believe he'll survive. Stander presents the pair with all the photos he's captured, including evidence that the aliens are harnessing Earth's electricity and a striking image of a child hurling a stone at a robot. An explosion is heard nearby all of a sudden, and even though Stander doesn't want to be rescued, Bo and Nadia whisk him away. They find a place to take shelter, and while waiting, Stander spots Bo's tattoo and he recognizes it and shows Bo a photo of the radar station. He proposes a bargain, offering them the camera in exchange for ending his suffering, and Bo, who keeps having flashbacks of someone's death, refuses to harm an innocent person, so Stander starts shouting and deliberately throwing things to draw the robot's attention. With no other options for survival, Nadia chokes Stander to death, and afterward, the pair hit the road again, but this time they use the photos as hints to find the quickest route to the radar station. As they trek for miles, Bo occasionally has memory flashes, but they aren't enough to make sense of anything. When they come across another deserted town, the camera battery dies, so they steal another car to continue their journey. A few hours later, in the middle of the road, the pair hears strange sounds on the car radio and stops to investigate, discovering a wrecked robot nearby. It's encouraging to see that they can be beaten, but Bo is still curious about their vulnerability. Suddenly they hear a thumping noise and see smoke in a distance, so they quickly get back in the car to escape. Just then, hundreds of robots emerge from behind them and start pursuing, firing at them, so the pair abandon the car and run to hide in a house. They descend to the basement and hold each other in fear, but before they can kiss, the roof starts to lift off. The alien spaceship begins to pull up the couple as well, but in a matter of seconds, Bo is dropped to the ground and only Nadia is abducted. Memory flashes flood his mind before he falls and loses consciousness, and when Bo wakes up later, he finds his leg is injured. After removing the rubble from the wound, he has no choice but to continue his journey alone, limping slowly and weakly due to his injured leg. Eventually, Bo reaches the radar station, only to find it completely destroyed by the aliens, including the dish. He notices the fresh graffiti on the wall and decides to track down the people who made it, leading him to another town. As he enters the town, he sees people fleeing from the robots and is surprised to see that they have a special device that can defeat the robots. Suddenly, two different model robots appear before him, and they scan him but leave without causing any harm. This triggers clear memories in Bo's mind, and he recalls firing a rocket at a robot. A teammate was severely injured in the process, forcing Bo to end his suffering. The rush of memories causes Bo to faint, and when he wakes up later, he finds that he's been saved by the locals and taken to a safe place. After a doctor treats his injured leg, Bo meets his rescuers, Kara and Juma, and shares his story with them. Juma tells him that Nadia won't be returning because the alien ships never bring back the people that they abduct, and Kara wonders why the aliens took Nadia but left Bo behind. In their search for answers, they introduce Bo to an engineer named Roderick, who's created an EMP device capable of defeating the robots and is now working on a larger one. His plan was to detonate this larger device under the alien spaceship, hoping it will disable their system and end the invasion. However, they haven't been able to get close enough to this ship because it only appears where there's a large crowd and it's surrounded by robots. Roderick receives a message from the guards outside informing them that the hundreds of robots are approaching their town and Juma wonders if they've been tracked, and the combination of his words and Roderick's alien sketches trigger a significant memory in Bo. That day when Bo was with his team, they witnessed an explosion and a robot seized him and inserted wires into his mouth, implanting a tracker in his spine, and before losing consciousness, Bo marked an arrow on his arm. Since then, the robots have been tracking him to locate more humans in their hideouts, and Kara immediately threatens to kill Bo to safeguard her people, but Bo proposes a better deal. They can use him to lure the spaceship and finally utilize Roderick's device, and the group quickly devises a plan to locate the usual abduction spot of the spaceship, and while they were preparing, Bo thinks he sees Nadia again. Unfortunately, it's just a woman who resembles her, and once the team was equipped, they carried the device through a tunnel to safely reach downtown. Regrettably, as soon as they emerge, they accidentally set off a concealed bomb that kills off a few of them. At that moment, they see the spaceship flying in the opposite direction, so they re-enter the tunnel to pursue it as a large robot fires at them. It kills 2 more team members, but it was too big to follow them into the tunnel, and after they've walked for a while, they unfortunately encounter the smaller robots, who rapidly open fire and Kara gets injured in the process. The team manages to shoot down the robots before they can kill anyone else, but they hear more approaching, so Kara instructs them to leave, while she stays behind with the grenades to buy them some time. The group flees with the device, and when more robots appear, Kara sacrifices herself by stopping them with a massive explosion. Meanwhile, back at the shelter, Juma and a doctor were trying to help people evacuate, but the smaller drones have already reached this area. The doctor was unfortunately killed, but Juma manages to escape quickly enough to rejoin his people. As they try to hasten the evacuation, they discover the robots infiltrating through the vents, so they prepare to fight. As soon as a robot emerges, the local surrounds and attacks it relentlessly, and meanwhile, the team discovers a group of robots hurting people for the approaching spaceship. Bo throws one of Roderick's EMP grenades at a robot, destroying it, and this diversion allows the people to start escaping. However, the robots pursue them and open fire, damaging the battery of Roderick's EMP device. While Roderick attempts to repair it unsuccessfully, Bo, remembering the picture, throws a stone at the robot to distract them, but they merely glance at him before resuming their attack on the people. Then Bo recalls that the attacker has caused him to react to the robot's electrical power and comes up with a plan. He touches the downed robot with one hand and the device with the other to transfer power. This causes him intense pain, but also successfully powers up the device. An EMP explosion immediately occurs, incapacitating all the robots in an instant, including those in the shelter, without harming any humans. As the movie ends, the entire area loses power and the spaceship begins to descend and eventually crashes on Earth in a massive explosion. As the people around them realize that the war against the aliens is finally over, Roderick checks on Bo, who was gradually regaining the rest of his memories. However, he decides to just retain the name Bo, and this is where the movie comes to an end. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch our next recaps on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you on the next one.